Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Across the Fourth Football Podcast. I'm your host Aaron Fraser. I'm joined once again by Stephen Kidderman and Logan back after a 1 week break due to technical issues. I'll let Logan explain that one.
So, me and Stephen recorded the podcast due to Aaron being at a family meal last week. Recorded all the podcast, all fine and dandy. I transfer the file, apparently transfer the correct file over to my laptop at home. I go to edit the podcast, and it's all I hear is Aaron's voice, and I'm wondering why is Aaron speaking. Yeah, it was last week's file, or the week before's file. So, yeah, no podcast last week, but me and Stephen had a great chat about how bad Hearts were at Ibrox. Well, I mean, they weren't bad, but
yeah, a bit about Stephen Naismith's tears, but
last minute collapse.
Yeah,
I prefer not to comment. Listen, I wasn't at the game. It doesn't count. And Stephen, how are you doing today?
not too bad, thank you. I mean, I came through here, I'd stand and wait for about 20 minutes before we could come in, but that's all right.
Blame one Tate Blake in his news days. Right, got a busy. We've got a busy schedule today. First of all, we're going to talk about Hibs versus Aberdeen at Hampden Park, the first of two semi-finals in the League Cup at the weekend. Hibs would go ahead through a Martin Boyle goal that was eventually disallowed before Bojan Majowski broke Hibs' hearts and sent the Dandy Dons on their way to the League Cup final. Stephen, you were there. Give us your thoughts on that game.
Very much disappointed. As soon as we got that goal just after half time, I turned round to my brother-in-law and I literally said, "This has 1-0 Aberdeen written all over it." Did nothing the whole game, all over them. That decision goes against you. And then I don't even want to talk about the defending for that goal. It was honestly amateur, and everybody has to hold their hands up for it.
Who was most at fault for that particular bit of defending? Though, caught in the break from a corner. Obviously, from his perspective, disappointing to lose that goal, but the Hibs defence has been a bit of a gripe for fans for a long time, not just this season, but the Hibs defence overall. You're still, I know they didn't start, but you've still got Hanlon, Stevenson, etc. on the books. Your backline's been decidedly mediocre for a number of years. Just what would you do to sort out the Hibs backline? Because it's been a negative topic for as long as I can remember, certainly.
Well, just to be honest with you, I thought we played defence was perfectly fine at the weekend. I think the team got way too excited. Obviously, Aberdeen went down to 10 men. So people pushed forward, out of position, kind of chucked the game plan away. And just like that, Yuan plays a poor pass into Miller. Miller takes a poor touch. He goes down looking for a foul, which he does quite often.
Never ever a foul.
The issue is he does it all the time in games, and he gets it a lot of the time. And it was gonna come back to bite him at some point.
100% learned that off Martin Boyle. Just saying.
And then obviously Dylan Levitt, a lot of people were complaining at him, but I think he's just genuinely that slow when he's trying to get back. I think he was trying as hard as he could. And David Marshall, I mean, honestly, what is he doing? That Majowski is running through on goal from his own half, from like 30 yards out from his own goal, and Marshall's still on his line when he gets into the box. Honestly, it's mental.
To be fair, if I was you, I would not be encouraging David Marshall of all goalies to come off his line at Hampden. I've seen that one before.
Still though, like honestly, and then even the fact he didn't come off his line, Majowski comes into the box. Most goalies would go with their feet because it gives them the best chance of getting across. He just slumped down. He just genuinely just fell to the ground, and we could have conceded that goal 3 times at the weekend.
Logan, did you watch the game as well?
Yeah, I seen glimpses of it. I was listening to it on the radio as well, and it seemed that Hibs were very much the dominant side until Aberdeen went down to 10 men, and you would have thought that Hibs would have just tried to regain their shape, gained composure, because you knew that Aberdeen were going to camp in and sit in and try and maybe hit Hibs on the break, but Hibs shape for even, you seen that for the goal as well. You seen that they had, it was like one pass forward and Majowski was in, and then it was a bit of a mess from Hibs' perspective when they should have had that game dead and buried. Obviously Montgomery said that they were the better side, Joe Newell said that the better side, but the fans don't want to hear that after a semi-final. So yeah, certainly work to do at Hibs, especially with this new 4-4-2 formation as we mentioned before.
Next up on the topic of semi-finals, Heart of Midlothian 1, Rangers 3. If I had the whole podcast to sit and moan about it. I probably could, but we'll keep it short and we'll keep it sweet in the words of the famous bootlegger. Hearts just, all they were trying to do was hold out and hit Rangers on the break, and it just did not work. At half time, like I've said online, I thought as long as that game stayed at 0-0, Hearts would have had some sort of a chance, but we just didn't lay a glove on Rangers, and the fans are sick to death of Hearts in these big games against Celtic, against Rangers in semi-finals, when there's a lot at stake. We just pass, and don't attack enough. It's as simple as that. I genuinely cannot think, apart from Lawrence Shanklin's penalty at 3 goals down already, which was almost not given thanks to Nick Walsh, somehow trying to send Stephen Kingsley off for simulation with a second yellow, and VAR spared his blushes. On a side note, I've never actually heard a penalty award get booed as loudly as it was from the fans that it was for, because they were basically just giving him abuse because he should have gave it in the first place. He didn't. So there was a cheer like, yeah, we got a penalty, and immediately after that, unspeakable insults are raining down on Nick Walsh from the stands of Hampden Park. It was quite the spectacle. But like I've said, Hearts was just too little too late, and Rangers just took their chances. James Tavernier, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I do not understand the slagging he gets from Rangers fans. He was, I mean, I know it was 2 set pieces, but he's a captain at right back. He scored 100 odd goals for them, and he's just scored 2 goals in a semi-final to take them back to the League Cup final, which they've not actually won for ages. He's given them a very good chance of winning a trophy they've not had their hands on for well over a decade, and that second free kick.
I believe it was 2011, the last one.
2011.
Yeah, a lot closer to now than when Hearts last won it, wasn't it?
You can behave yourself. But yeah, it was a splendid free kick. It pains me to admit it, but he could not have hit it any sweeter. But I have to admit, I was very angry at Xander Clark. Number one, for making the stupid decision to come flying off his line and not get to the ball in time. And secondly, just standing perfectly still for the penalty. The free kick, 5 Xander Clark ain't saving that, but the penalty, he just stood there and watched it go in. Disappointing showing, to say the least. Any of you boys watch that game as well? Any opinions on it?
Yeah, I watched it on Sunday. James Tavernier, as you said, different level. The free kick was just outstanding. You know, he scored over 100 goals now for Rangers from right back. Obviously, he takes penalties, but that's just something to be admired. I thought Rangers were good. I thought Scott Wright coming on at half time was a really good.
On Scott Wright, that man, I'm convinced, only gets
Turns up
brought
at
out.
Hampden.
He gets brought out the freezer every 6 to 9 months to just play against Hearts at Hampden and score. The goal that he scored the
Yeah,
exact same goal in
genuinely,
the cup final.
Literally the exact same goal. I saw a clip of it and it was like the goal from last year getting like transitioned into this year's one. It literally is the exact same.
For a man that was off to Turkey in the summer as well, who
So
was
open,
basically
man.
out the door. Clements came in and Scott Wright seems like he's getting his chance now at Rangers again, and he's that type of player that you're not expecting him maybe to be brilliant in the game, but for some reason at Hampden or against Hearts in a cup game he seems to perform. So I think that maybe give him a chance to possibly play on Thursday after that performance against Prague. So whether he starts there or not, but certainly him, Danilo, Tavernier, the standouts. But I don't think Hearts caused many problems at the back as well for Rangers. So they had that header with Butler, made a very good save from Frankie Kent. But apart from that, Rangers were comfortable winners.
Yeah, I think the issue for Hearts was, to be honest, watching it even in that first half, you were just waiting for Rangers to score. Like they had so many, like not even like proper chances, but half chances, and you thought they're gonna take one of these, and as soon as they take one chance, there's probably Hearts out the game.
Next up on the review list, Celtic's away match to Ross County, where the Hoops won pretty comfortably. If I've on too many tic-tacs today, apologies folks. That game was a pretty easy win for Celtic. Any of you boys watched the game? I was out at the Edinburgh City game that day, so admittedly I didn't watch much. I saw Forrest goal in the pub, but apart from that, I didn't get much of the game, but going with a scoreline, and given Celtic had the man advantage so early in the game, it was another comfortable 3 points for the men from Glasgow.
Yeah, I managed to see the highlights for the game. I think there was a good few VAR decisions that people were debating, but like the red card was a red card all day. It was kind of similar to I don't know if you were watching the Tottenham Chelsea game yesterday, but Romero sending off studs up the boy's leg, like you're always going off for that. And then they had an offside decision against them for VAR, which was very tight. But I don't want to talk about offsides this weekend. And then from that, they just controlled the game. I mean, they're always going to control the game against Ross County, aren't they?
Celtic.
They had so many chances in that game, could have finished 6, 7, 8 now, to be honest.
Yeah, I think everybody expected Celtic to win that game. Ross County were never going to cause many problems, especially, well, I know Celtic going up to Dingwall's arguably not really a tough game for Celtic, but it could cause some issues, especially with
Potential banana skin, I'd call it.
Europe in midweek as well. Celtic could have potentially rested a few players, but they were always going to be comfortable winners, and rightfully so.
Next up, Logan, Friday night football at Capello. Dunfermline won a very close game, would you say?
First half, I don't think it was close. I think Dunfermline were, I wouldn't say running riot, but they were definitely dominant in the game, and then the second half came around, and Malton obviously 2 goals down. They made a few changes in the first half and at half time as well, and they needed to change the game because the first half, I'm not going to lie, they weren't great at all. The Morton fans booing their own players in Kirk Broadfoot, which we'll get onto in a wee bit.
Don't forget the flying pie.
Owen Moffat scoring after 20 seconds, which kind of was a bit of a sucker punch for Morton, and 7 minutes as well, being 2-0. Owen Moffat was brilliant on the night, and yeah, the second half Morton kind of came out. They've got 2 direct strikers in Oakley and Muirhead. As we know, Chris Hamilton is not the biggest centre half in the world, replacing Kyle Benedict at the back for that game, but Chris Hamilton was superb dealing with the 2 strikers, same with Otto and Fisher. And then it was a silly mistake for the goal. Mehmet knew it himself. He tried to roll it to Hamilton. The pass just went in front of Hamilton. It was a lack of concentration, just a brief moment, and then Oakley, the cross came in and Oakley was filled. They scored the penalty, and then the last 20 minutes was the longest 20 minutes of my life, but we managed to see it out. And yeah, I deserve 3 points after the first half performance, but that second half was certainly a bit cagey.
On to the subject of booing your own player. Have you ever done it?
I can't say I have. That was a bizarre experience on Friday. Especially, obviously they went 2-0 down, but I wouldn't say necessarily any of the goals were Kirk Broadfoot's fault. But every time he got the ball, for the next 5 times he got the ball, it was boos from the, I'll put in brackets here, singing section of Capello Park.
The cowshed, perhaps.
Aye.
Whatever they call themselves.
Aye, so and then Broadfoot understandably was not happy, shouting at Dougie Emery, pointing at the badge, saying I'm doing my best for this team and that. But I think for the rest of the game he was fine. He didn't really make any mistakes. But
how long did the booing carry on for? Was it the whole game?
No, there was a few fans that were disagreeing with it. So a few of them started clapping after it, but maybe he played 3 on the floor passes in the whole game. The rest, the Malton defence were just launching it forward to the direct way they like to play. But I don't think he put to earn enough to earn boos. I don't think it was justified. But you can understand the frustrations, but certainly not towards an individual player.
Yeah, I have to say I've never booed my own player during the game anyway. Just an individual. I mean, certainly having to watch Hibs for numerous years, you've booed them off a fair few times. But on an individual player, when they're everybody knows how hard it is for these players, and they're always going to be trying their best. So there's no point just singling one out and booing them, is there? What's it going to do?
You tell me you've never booed Florian Canberry?
Not at Hibs, no.
Fair enough.
Why would I boo him at Hibs?
I have actually booed a Hearts player while playing for Hearts. On only one occasion, it was John Suter. The first game after it was announced he was joining Rangers on a pre-contract. Obviously now we all know the context behind why he chose to stay in Scotland instead of going abroad. Well, obviously he's got Champions League football and a big pay rise at Ibrox, but his brother, who sadly did pass away due to MND, was living in Scotland, so that's why he didn't want to kind of up sticks and go down south when his brother was still alive at the point, but he was actually quite ill at the time of Suter's transfer. But when the move first came out, obviously nobody was really any the wiser about his personal situation, and the way it looked pretty black and white, he just went to Rangers chasing the money. So, as you can imagine, his first game, he still played for Hearts until the end of that 21-22 season, but as you can imagine, the reaction he got from Tynecastle in the first game wasn't particularly pleasant. I've never really seen it before, but whenever Soot was on the ball, it was loud boos. Admittedly, it did kind of peter out. It wasn't like constant for the whole game, but certainly the first couple of times he got on the ball, it was deafening boos, and I did admittedly join in. And obviously, I didn't bother really after that game. There was some people that booed him like right up to the end of his time. Like, I done it that first game and just didn't bother for the rest of the time because it was like, he's our player, whatever. I just wanted to get my frustrations out at that one game. But apart from that, I've never really booed my own player, but that was one notable exception.
You are an awful human being.
And that's terrible, Aaron. Imagine that.
Booing your own player.
You two can behave yourself. Next up, your thoughts on pyrotechnics, a rather trending topic in Scottish football, particularly in the last week or so. You had the Rangers pyro show up at Dens Park, Hearts fans setting off the pyro at Hampden. It's been in the news lately. Obviously, there was some firework-related riots in Nidri recently, so it's not just a football thing. Pyro's been all over the back pages of every newspaper in this country in the last week or so. But what are your thoughts on pyrotechnics at games? Personally, I think there's scope, because obviously in other countries such as Germany, it's legalised, it's safe, they have certain zones you can set it off in, the authorities are very collaborative with the fans, although that's in a country where football fans aren't seen as a scum of the earth. So whether we could get something like that here, you tell me. I doubt it, but it can be done. It's certainly not impossible, but with the powers that be in this country and just the general attitude towards football fans as a whole, I can't see it happening, certainly not for a long time. But personally, I think, also I understand, like, if you're asthmatic, if pyrotechnics would be disturbing you, I understand that. But if there is scope to have like certain zones for it to be used safely and people would know what they're doing with it properly, I see no reason why it shouldn't be introduced properly, if that makes sense. But anyway, boys, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're never going to stop people bringing them into games, are they? So the best way to get around it would be working with the people, and like you say, having those zones you could set them off more safely. But I don't really get the whole the people bashing Rangers for doing it when I could see in genuinely a year's time the SPFL using like that video of Rangers fans as like an advertisement for the league. So
Yeehaw!
you were dying to do that.
Oh, of course I was.
Yeah, there's certainly scope to make it safe. I think the Rangers stuff is maybe a bit too far at this stage, but certainly without any planning. Well, there was probably planning in place from the fans individually, but if you communicate with the clubs and things like that, then...
Well, if they communicate with the clubs, I'll be saying, chase yourself. That's the whole point.
I think in the future, if there's going to be as big displays as that, then they'll probably need to plan it. I know nobody really does, but going forward, if you're going to do as big a display as that, I do like that idea of maybe one if a goal goes in, but it does bring a risk to supporters, as they say. But when it gets thrown on the pitch, or thrown onto plastic pitches,
Or when Griffiths kicks them back.
or when it's damaging pitches, damaging facilities, that's when it gets to the stage where you're like, okay, let's rein that in.
That was one in one of the Hibs European games. I think it was against Lausanne, and we must have scored. I can't remember if it was the second or the third goal. And we moved the singing section behind the goal, so block 7 were behind the goal. And then all of a sudden, a flare ended up on the pitch, and we got the club put out, we will get fined if you chuck a flare on the pitch because the UEFA will fine us. We've just spent loads of money on new pitches. You're going to make us pay thousands of pounds to repair this. So there was a big argument, I would say, and folk were blaming block 7, but it turned out that it was genuinely just another fan that was behind the goal and just lobbed one on and just like basically blamed the singing section.
And finally, before we get on to Logan's famous quiz for another week, a look ahead at the European games. First of all, tonight Celtic are taking on Atletico Madrid at the Metropolitano, boys. A very tough task for Celtic, obviously. The reverse fixture at Parkhead finished a 2-2 draw, which is a very credible result for Celtic, I would argue. But over in Spain, Atletico will be looking to really put this tie to bed and get themselves motoring up that European group. So, what are your thoughts on the tie tonight for Celtic?
Yeah, I think Atletico Madrid would have been disappointed with some of the results that they've had in the group so far. They drew in the last minute with Lazio. They drew at Celtic Park, as you mentioned there before. But they'll be looking to get the 3 points tonight, and I think they will win convincingly. Celtic going to Spain will be difficult, going to that sort of atmosphere. And obviously they're a giant club in Spain, and yeah, I think it will be really, really difficult for Celtic. But I think Atletico Madrid will manage to get the 3 points on the night. I don't know what the score will be. I think it will be dominant for Atletico Madrid though.
Yeah, I think it'll be really tough for Celtic, but I've got a little fun fact for you. So obviously today, 7th of November. On the 7th of November 2012, Celtic famously beat Barcelona 2-1 at home in the Champions League. On the 7th of November 2019, again famously beat Lazio away in Rome 2-1. So they like a big win in Europe, but I'd say this one maybe would be a step too far.
Well, to be fair, you wouldn't back Tony Watt's going against Barcelona.
No,
then,
exactly.
would
Yeah, that's very true.
you never know. It's just it's a case of many things, but Celtic, you never know. And a famous one could be on the cards.
Tony Watt from scoring against Barcelona to now playing at East End Park on Friday.
What a
And,
dramatic fall from grace that was.
and tweeting Logan Paul as well. That was a fun moment.
He's such a maverick, honestly. Next up, Ultras Aberdeen are away in Greece to take on PAOK Thessaloniki FC. I'm still bitter about PAOK, but they are a very, very good team, and they had a very impressive comeback at Pittodrie in the reverse fixture. 2-0 up and seemingly cruising, Aberdeen subs completely changed the game, and PAOK went on to score 3 goals to claim a famous victory under the lights in Aberdeen.
Yeah, obviously Aberdeen were really disappointed with the result a few weeks ago, going 2 goals up and losing 3-2 late on. It's probably they would have deserved the 3 points that night after the performance that they put in, but going over to Greece, it's a much more difficult game. They're really good at home, and they've got some decent results. Obviously beating Frankfurt in the group so far, and I think if PAOK win this game, then they're all but through from the group. So yeah, I think Aberdeen will possibly struggle after putting so much effort into Saturday's game as well. But yeah, it will be probably a difficult one for the Scottish side.
Yeah, I think it will be one of those games where, as you saw with Hearts, they kind of got absolutely pumped when they went away to Greece.
I prefer not to speak.
So, but I think the way they played, they will be quietly confident that they can go there and hopefully get a result, because they really, really, really need one at this point.
Finally, Rangers versus Sparta Prague at Ibrox. They could use that famous home atmosphere in Europe to really get them over the line in what is a crucial European test for the Ibrox club. Gents, your thoughts on this fixture?
Yeah, I think Rangers played well in the game over in the Czech Republic. In the last game, it was Clement's second game in charge, I believe. So, yeah, I think them going to Sparta Prague going to Ibrox, it will be more difficult for them. And Rangers, they love a home European tie. So, yeah, especially after the confidence of Sunday's result as well, beating such a small team in Hearts. And
I'm going to fly across this table and send you out that window if you don't shut your mouth.
Sparta Prague are just a completely different level from Hearts. So, yeah, I think Rangers will win the game overall. Whether we see Danilo Dessers starting, Scott Wright possibly earning a start as well. Don't know what was wrong with Cantwell going off at half time, but be interesting to see if he's fit and ready to play. But I certainly think it will be a Rangers victory.
Yeah, I think, as you said at the start, the atmosphere at Ibrox can intimidate any team. And I think going off, like Logan said, at the weekend with that win against a certain team, they will bring a lot of confidence in it. I think they've got a lot of confidence right in there amongst themselves with the new manager coming in. I think they're buying into how he's trying to get them to play. There was just a bit of a breath of fresh air after the whole Beale saga that they had. But yeah, I think the players are enjoying it now, and I would expect Rangers to pick up 3 points at home if they want to have any chance of getting through.
Right then, quiz time.
Right, boys. 4 questions this week.
4.
Only 4. We were struggling for a wee bit of time. So 4 questions. Get your notes at the ready.
Who was the second man on the moon?
So, the last question is a bit of a theme from this week, which we didn't talk about actually, but we'll maybe talk about it after the quiz. So, first question. Bit of a similar question to last week. Who is the current top goal scorer in Scottish League One? Stephen laughing because he's not got a clue.
I really should know this.
One player.
Yep, one player. 4 points available, may I add, today. I'll give them a wee bit of time to think. 10 more seconds. Right, second question.
It's not 10 seconds.
Stephen's not even wrote down an answer, I don't think. Right, write down an answer. Just think of players that play in League One, mate.
He doesn't know any.
No, he does. He
I don't
does.
think they'd be top goal
Top
scorer.
goal scorer, certainly not.
Yeah. Go on.
Where do Hamilton Accies play?
Sponsorship name included?
Oh, sponsorship? Are you serious? Come on.
I want the official name of Hamilton Accies
I'm
Stadium.
not. No, come on. The sponsorship's surely not needed. If I could give you the stadium name, will you take that?
Just put down your answer, mate.
I love a good fix.
Both got down an answer?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Since the SPFL era started in 2013, who has the most goals in that period for the Old Firm?
That's a very, very good question. So,
So between both
is
of
it
them.
either of them?
Yeah, so it could be a player that's played for either team, but who has the
Right.
most goals for?
Okay. So there's only one answer for this?
Yep.
Right, cool.
Do they play right now?
Saying nothing.
There's a good few people this could be.
Does this also count goals they may have scored for another club?
No, for the Old Firm.
For the Old Firm himself, right, cool.
In any league. Or does it
Yeah,
have to be?
yeah.
Someone call 999. Nicky Law is on fire.
What? Sorry.
Yes, I know. It could have been a Rangers player in any league. How can you forget that iconic video?
Right, last question. As I said, a theme of this week. How many teams has Craig Levein managed in Scotland? Obviously, Craig
It
Levein
was
getting
very
the
quick there.
St Johnstone job this
Are
week.
you counting more than one time, or are you taking
How many
just
teams? Not how many spells, how many teams.
spells? That's how many teams?
Yeah.
How many
Yes.
clubs?
Okay.
Obviously, Aaron's favourite man, Craig Levein.
I feel like there's gonna
Regrets? That's a good laugh,
I
isn't
feel
it?
like there's gonna be one club that just is slipping through my mind. I forget them.
Actually, did meet Craig fairly recently at a Edinburgh Tartan Army event. He was on very good form. Funny guy,
Getting ready for that St
Oh.
Johnstone job, is it?
evidently.
Have we all got our answers
Oh,
ready?
Yes, we
I'm gonna miss that last one by one club. I can feel it.
So, Stephen, who's the current top goal scorer in Scottish League One?
Well, to be honest with you, I couldn't remember who the striker was for Falkirk, and the only one I could really remember in that Falkirk team was Morrison. So I don't think he'll be top goal scorer, but I just had to write an answer quickly.
So your answer's Callum Morrison.
Yeah.
Aaron,
Ross McKeever.
1 point to Stephen. Callum,
Wait, seriously?
Oh, I had him as well.
Callum Morrison is the top goal
Oh
scorer.
no, I had Morrison written down and changed my mind.
Where do Hamilton Accies play?
ZLX Stadium.
Oh, it's in the Douglas Park.
The answer, according to Google and according to the Hamilton Accies official website, is a ZLX Stadium.
Are you seriously not giving me a point for that?
I'll give you a half point.
Okay.
So you're a half point ahead currently.
Okay.
Who has the most goals for the Old Firm since the SPFL era started?
Chris Boyd.
Oh, I put Tavernier.
Chris Boyd.
Yes.
No. Lee Griffiths.
You're joking.
Seriously?
Really?
How many goals did he have?
Let me just double
Griffiths.
check.
I obviously he scored a lot
Yeah.
of goals, but since the SP,
I guess
to be
he
fair-
got a good few seasons where he scored like 40 odd.
92 goals.
Seriously, how many has Tavernier got? How many has Tavernier got? 68.
68.
Oh, in the league.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh dear.
If you'd stayed in the
Shocker.
league, I would have got that
I
one.
can't believe I never got Callum Morrison.
How many teams has Craig Levein managed in Scotland?
3.
3.
No.
No, is it 4? Is it 4?
It's 5.
Oh God.
And I'm not including Scotland either.
Right. So whoever names the most gets the point. Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
Do we get a point?
right.
Oh
Do we get a
my
point
God,
for each team?
seriously, I
Quickly,
can't believe
there's 5 teams. I want you to write down the 5 teams.
I can't believe I forgot one.
I want you to write down
There's
the.
one big one that I completely forgot.
I want you to write down the 5 teams.
I can only think of 3. Like I know there's more, but I can only think of 3. That's gonna do my head in. If I lose this quiz,
So if I get one more than him, do I get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
if you're telling me
I
I'm
don't
gonna,
know what
I'm, if I'm gonna lose this quiz to a Craig
Who's-
Levein question, I'm
who's
not
the
coming
last
back.
one? I feel like he went down to England or something and managed someone.
How many teams in
In
Scotland?
Scotland.
Oh, Scotland. I thought you said you weren't counting in Scotland
No, I'm
As
not
in the
counting
national
Scotland
team.
Job.
without the national team.
Yeah.
Clubs in Scotland were at the national team.
Wait,
Right.
Give me a second.
Oh, no.
You have to give us the
Right,
I'm
okay.
actually gonna bottle this. I can only
Craig
think of 3.
Levein. Are you counting caretaker? Are you counting? Is it?
How many clubs has Craig Levein managed in Scotland?
Oh. Oh.
I can still only think of 3.
Right. Write down your answers.
I've wrote 3 down. That's what I said.
Is that all you've got?
I feel like there's one more, but I just
There'll be
can't
one big one
pin-
that
I
I
can't pin it
can't
down.
think of, and it's
I had
really
4,
gonna
but
be
Ian,
then-
how many have you got written down?
3.
Right. Stephen, you got 10 seconds.
10. Sounds like I was about to count down there.
Oh, I hate this.
Write down an answer.
I'm trying to think of a club.
Right. So you both got 3 each, and if you both have the same 3, then we'll just have bids, and whoever gets
Okay.
whoever gets the next club that he's
I'll do
managed.
that.
Okay.
Right. Stephen, go first.
Dundee United.
Yep.
Oh, my name them all.
Yep.
Hearts.
Yep.
St Johnstone.
Ian, have you got written down?
Dundee United, Hearts, St Johnstone.
Right. So there is 2 other teams.
Hamilton.
Oh no.
I'll have one bid from Stephen, so it's Hamilton out the window. Aaron,
Brecon.
I was going to say Brecon, but I
Stephen?
didn't think
He was the
manager.
director
Yeah.
there recently, but I don't know if he managed him in the past or something.
St Mirren.
Aaron,
Kilmarnock.
Stephen.
Oh, was that Kelly? He strikes me as
We
a
could be here all day.
Strikes
Stephen,
me as a Kelly manager. Falkirk.
Aaron.
So I'm not right.
I'm needing to remember who's in the different leagues at this point.
Get off your phone.
can I
Off
look
your
at the
phones.
league?
Not off your phones. Off your phones. Aaron, off that
Who have I
phone.
guessed? Hamilton.
Are you on Google?
No, I'm on FotMob.
No,
Oh,
too
no,
far.
no.
You could click on Craig Levein's profile.
Has he even got a profile?
He should be docked a point for
Right.
Has he even got a profile?
Aaron, off your phone.
that. Oh, he will.
I'm
If he gets his next guest.
gonna take a stab in the dark. Wraith Rovers.
Oh, out. You're out. Dock points. Finished.
Shut up.
Cheat.
I have no looked in their profile.
I don't believe you.
So,
Broke the rules.
Aaron's got it right. But he's been looking at FOTMob. So, Stephen, you have one guess left. If you can get the 15,
Are you serious?
I'll give you both a point.
If I can get the 15.
It was the first team he managed in Scotland.
So are they
That is a
rubbish?
hint for you.
They're rubbish. You put me really
There'll be some jobby team, won't there?
Cown
Oh,
Cown beef.
beef. Yeah, is it them?
Aaron has got his head in his hands.
Is it?
That's cown
Oh, I
beef.
knew it. I
It's a
actually knew that as well.
answer.
That's what I was trying to think, but for some reason I was thinking Pars in my head before and I couldn't remember. I knew he's from Dunfermline, so I didn't know.
I think Aaron knew that as well.
Oh, that's poor. Well, did you guess it, Aaron?
Especially after going to the Craig Levein Q&As.
You're his best mate. You didn't know what team he managed. Ah, that's poor.
oh my God, that's an easy couple of points thrown away.
Easy.
So, the final scores this week are Stephen with 2.5 points
Yep, should be free.
and Aaron with 2 points. Aaron, thoughts please.
Get it up the Perry, I'm not coming back.
This quiz is designed for me to lose, and I've just went and won it.
If anyone was to get the Callum Morrison question I thought it would have been you, Aaron.
That's the thing. I literally had Morrison written down, but I thought, nah, surely the striker will have more.
He's the only player that he came to my head, right? If I genuinely,
the only player that Stephen knows.
no, genuinely, like I would name more, but if I thought I was like, right, it'll be Falkirk probably that have a top goal scorer, but I didn't know who their striker was, so I just thought Morrison.
Cowdenbeath, man. Of course it was Cowdenbeath.
I knew that.
He literally
as well.
played them
I
before
should
he
have
went
guessed.
to Hibs.
I should have guessed
He
that
played
earlier.
at Cowdenbeath. He managed them, and
Briefly on Craig Levein, Aaron, you've obviously seen him manage Hearts and over the
Twice.
years, and have it.
well, I've not saw him twice, but I know he's managed Hibs.
And you've been a few Q&As with him over the past few
I was
months.
literally speaking to him last week.
Your
Yeah.
best, mate. How would you feel?
What's
You
your
happy
thoughts
for
on the
him?
appointment for St Johnstone?
Regrets? No, it's a good laugh, innit? No, I do think it'll be a good steady leadership appointment for St Johnstone. They need a guy with experience, and save for how his last time at Hearts ended, he's a solid Premiership manager. I believe, apart from the year that obviously he got sacked at Hearts, he's never finished in the bottom six as a manager. I saw that stat online yesterday. So I do think that they needed somebody to really steady the ship, and I think Craig Levein will keep St Johnstone up.
He was doing about 14 different jobs at Hearts as well.
Yeah.
That's very true. He has admitted since then that the burnout kind of got to him. But I do think that give him time, give him the January window, see what he can cook up. But I do think that St Johnstone aren't out of this dogfight just yet. Thank you very much for. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, has he not brought? Was it Andy Cook he's brought with him, so he can kind of.
What a player.
So he can take the at Hearts he was doing all the jobs, whereas at St Johnstone, if he focuses on the coaching, then Levein can focus on bigger picture sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I do think St Johnstone fans might not appreciate it just now, but give it time. I know Craig should.
May 2023
Can't wait for them to
relegated.
get pumped on Saturday.
I think if I watch Hearts lose to a Craig Levein St Johnstone
Nah,
side at Tynecastle, that'll be the final straw.
It's coming to Easter Road, honestly. I was just waiting for it. A last minute
A
goal.
1-0 Stevie May
last
winner.
minute goal.
I think if Stevie May hits the griddy at Easter Road and runs to Craig Levein, that'll be the best image I've ever saw in my life.
He's hit
Craig
the griddy.
Levein doing it back just down the touchline towards the fans.
No, I don't want that image in my head.
I can't wait for Stephen to walk out the ground booing. And on that note, we're going to end this week's episode of Across the Fourth. Thank you very much for listening, gents. Any final thoughts?
I've just got the image of Craig Levein griddying down the touchline
Yeah,
Easter
I
Road.
know.
And on that note, we'll leave you at Stephen. I'm back for revenge next week. Don't you worry, son. Until next time, we'll see you from very soon. Until then, take care and bye for now.
Cheers.